Maya Johnson rushed through the busy streets of downtown Chicago, her worn sneakers hitting the pavement as she juggled her phone and purse. She was running late again, and Miss Patterson from the daycare wasn't going to be happy. This was the third time this week she'd been delayed at her second job, and the daycare's late fees were adding up. "Just 5 more minutes," she muttered, dodging past tourists and business people on Michigan Avenue. Her feet were killing her after a double shift at the diner, but she couldn't afford to slow down. Her 6-year-old daughter Lily was waiting. The sea wind whipped around the tall buildings, sending scattered leaves dancing across her path. Maya pulled her thin jacket tighter around herself, wishing she could afford something warmer. But with rent due next week and Lily's upcoming school fees, a new coat would have to wait. She was so focused on getting to the daycare that she didn't see the man step out of the luxury car until it was too late. Maya crashed right into his broad chest, sending her phone clattering to the sidewalk. "I'm so sorry," she exclaimed, mortified. She dropped to her knees to grab her phone, noticing with dismay that the screen was now cracked. "Please, let me help." A deep voice spoke above. Her strong hands reached down to assist. Maya looked up into the most striking pair of green eyes she'd ever seen. The man was tall and impeccably dressed in what had to be $1,000 suit. His dark hair was perfectly styled, and the expensive watch glinted on his wrist. "Marcus." "Sterling," he said with a warm smile, helping her to her feet. "And entirely my fault. I wasn't watching where I was going." Maya couldn't help but notice how his hand lingered on her arm. "Maya Johnson," she replied, trying to ignore the flutter in her stomach. "And I was the one running." Marcus glanced at her cracked phone screen and frowned. "I insist on replacing that. It was my fault." "Oh no, really, it's fine," Maya protested, even though she knew she couldn't afford to fix it. "I need to go. I'm late picking up my daughter." Something flickered in Marcus's eyes. "At least let me give you my card for the phone." He pulled out a sleek business card and handed it to her. "I mean it, Maya. Call me." She tucked the card into her pocket without really looking at it and hurried away, her heart beating faster than it should. It wasn't until she'd picked up Lily and gotten them both home to their small apartment that she really looked at the card. Marcus Sterling, CEO, Sterling Enterprises, International Investment and Development. Maya's eyes widened as she Googled his name. Sterling Enterprises was one of the biggest development companies in the Midwest. Marcus Sterling was worth billions, and she'd literally run right into him. "Mommy, I'm hungry," Lily called from the living room where she was working on her homework. Maya pushed thoughts of handsome billionaires out of her mind and went to heat up dinner. But later that night, after Lily was asleep, Maya found herself staring at the business card again. She traced her fingers over the embossed lettering, remembering those green eyes and that genuine smile, but she shook her head and put the card away. Men like Marcus Sterling didn't end up with women like her, single mothers working 2 jobs just to get by. The next morning was Saturday, which meant Maya's shift at the diner started at 6 a.m. She dropped a sleepy Lily off with her neighbor, Mrs. Martinez, who watched her daughter on weekends. The diner was already busy when she arrived, full of the usual weekend breakfast crowd. Maya tied on her apron and got to work, trying to ignore how her feet still ached from yesterday. "Order up for table 7, Jerry the cook called out. Maya grabbed the plates of pancakes and eggs, plastering on her best smile as she headed to the table, and stopped dead in her tracks. Marcus Sterling sat at table 7 looking completely out of place in his designer suit. Their eyes met, and he smiled that devastating smile again. "I was hoping I'd find you here," he said softly. Maya's hands trembled slightly as she set down his breakfast. "How did you know where I work?" "I have my ways." He paused. "Actually, I asked around at some of the local diners. I wanted to make things right about your phone and maybe ask you to dinner." Maya's heart skipped a beat, but she forced herself to stay professional. "That's very kind, but really not necessary. Can I get you anything else?" "Just think about it," Marcus said. He pulled out another business card and set it on the table. "I'm not usually this persistent, but there's something about you, Maya Johnson." She hurried away to take care of her other tables, but she could feel his eyes on her as she worked. When she finally had a moment to return to table 7, Marcus was gone. In his place was $100 tip and a handwritten note. I know you probably think I'm just another rich guy used to getting what he wants, but I'd really like to get to know you. Have dinner with me. Marcus Meyer's co-worker Shanice peered over her shoulder at the note. Girl, do you know who that was? Marcus Sterling. He's in all the business magazines. What are you waiting for? Call him. It's not that simple, Meyer sighed. I have Lily to think about, and men like him, they don't usually want to deal with single mothers. Maybe he's different, Shanice said. You won't know unless you give him a chance. Meyer tucked the note into her pocket along with the tip money. She needed to focus on work, not daydream about handsome billionaires. But as she moved through her busy morning, her mind kept drifting back to those green eyes and that genuine smile. When her shift ended at 2 p.m., Meyer was exhausted. She collected Lily from Mrs. Martinez and took her to the small park near their apartment. As Lily played on the swings, Meyer sat on a bench and pulled out Marcus's business card again. Higher, Mommy, higher, Lily called out. Meyer smiled and went to push her daughter on the swing, tucking the card away once more. Her life was complicated enough without adding a billionaire to the mix, but that night, after Lily was asleep, Meyer found herself staring at her phone. The crack in the screen seemed to mock her. Before she could talk herself out of it, she dialed the number on Marcus's card. It rang twice before his warm voice answered. Meyer, I was hoping you'd call. About the phone, she started. Have dinner. With me tomorrow night, he interrupted gently. Just dinner. No pressure, no expectations. Let me get to know you. Meyer hesitated. I have a daughter, she said firmly. She's my priority. As she should be, Marcus replied. I respect that. It's one of the things that intrigues me about you, how hard you work to take care of her. Please, Meyer, one dinner. She found herself smiling despite her reservations. Okay, one dinner. What Meyer didn't know was that Marcus Sterling had secrets of his own. As he hung up the phone in his penthouse office, he looked at the file on his desk, the one his private investigator had compiled about Meyer Johnson, and he closed it without reading it. For the first time in his life, he wanted to learn about someone the natural way, not through his usual calculated research, but the secrets in that file would change everything. And neither Meyer nor Marcus was prepared for what would happen when the truth came out. Meyer stood in front of her small closet, feeling overwhelmed. Everything she owned seemed too plain for dinner with a billionaire. She'd already tried on and rejected 3 different outfits. You look pretty, Mommy, Lily said from where she sat on Meyer's bed, swinging her little legs. Meyer smiled at her. Daughter's reflection in the mirror. She'd chosen a simple black dress she'd worn to her cousin's wedding last year. It would have to do. Are you sure you're okay staying with Mrs. Martinez tonight? Meyer asked, fixing her earrings. Simple silver. Studs that had belonged to her mother. We're going to make cookies, Lily said excitedly, and she said I can watch Frozen. The doorbell rang at exactly 7 o'clock. Meyer's heart jumped into her throat. She opened the door to find Marcus standing there, looking even more handsome. Then she remembered in a dark suit that probably cost more than her rent. These are for you, he said, holding out a bouquet of roses. His eyes traveled over her appreciatively. You look beautiful. Thank you, Meyer said, feeling self-conscious. She put the flowers in water while Marcus chatted with Lily, who was peering at him curiously from behind the couch. Your car is really shiny, Lily observed, making Marcus laugh. Would you like to see it? He asked, glancing at Meyer for permission. At her nod, they all went. Down to the street where a sleek black Mercedes waited. Lily's eyes went wide. It looks like a spaceship. Marcus helped Meyer into the passenger seat after they dropped Lily at Mrs. Martinez's apartment. The leather seats were butter soft, and Meyer tried not to think about how out of place she felt. I hope you like Italian food, Marcus said as they drove through the city. I know this little place, but the little place turned out to be Bella Vista, one of the most exclusive restaurants in Chicago. Meyer's stomach twisted with nerves as the maitre d' led them to a private table with a view of the city lights. Relax, Marcus said softly, noticing her tension. It's just dinner. But it wasn't just dinner. Meyer had never been anywhere this fancy. The menu didn't even list prices, which she knew meant everything was astronomically expensive. "Tell me about Lily," Marcus said after they'd ordered. "She seems like a wonderful child." Maya's face lit up, talking about her daughter. "She's amazing, so smart and curious about everything. She wants to be an astronaut one day." "And her father?" Marcus asked carefully. Maya's smile faded slightly. "Not in the picture. He left when I told him I was pregnant. I haven't heard from him since." "His loss," Marcus said firmly. "It takes a strong woman to raise a child alone." "Sometimes I don't feel very strong," Maya admitted. "Working 2 jobs, never having enough time or money. But Lily's worth every struggle." Marcus reached across the table and took her hand. "That's exactly what makes you strong and intriguing." The food arrived. Pasta dishes that looked like works of art. Maya took a bite and couldn't hold back a small moan of pleasure. "This is incredible." "I'm glad you like it," Marcus smiled. "Now, tell me more about you. What are your dreams?" Maya hesitated. "Dreams seem like a luxury when you're just trying to get by, but I always wanted to go back to school, finish my business degree. What stopped you?" "Life, pregnancy, bills." Maya shrugged. "Maybe someday." Marcus's green eyes were intense as he studied her face. "You know, Sterling Enterprises has an educational assistance program for employees. We're actually looking for someone to manage our new community outreach division." Maya sat up straighter. "Are you offering me a job?" "I'm suggesting you might want to look at our job listings," Marcus said carefully. "Your experience in customer service, your work ethic, your natural ability with people, these are valuable skills." "I don't need charity," Maya said quietly. "It's not charity. It's business." Marcus squeezed her hand. "Just think about it." The rest of dinner passed in a blur of good food and better conversation. Maya found herself relaxing, drawn in by Marcus's charm and genuine interest in her life. He told her about growing up with wealthy but distant parents, about building his company from the ground up despite his family's money. "Everyone assumes I just inherited everything," he said, "but I wanted to prove I could succeed on my own." After dinner, Marcus drove her home the long way, pointing out buildings his company had developed. Maya was impressed by how he talked about creating affordable housing alongside luxury developments. "A city needs all kinds of people to thrive," he said passionately, "not just the wealthy." At her door, Marcus hesitated. "I'd very much like to kiss you," he said softly. "But I don't want to presume." Maya's heart raced. "I wouldn't mind," she whispered. His lips met hers gently, barely a brush at first. Then Maya leaned into him, and the kiss deepened. His arms went around her waist, pulling her closer. For a moment, all her worries about their differences melted away. When they finally broke apart, Maya was breathless. "I should go check on Lily," she said reluctantly. "Have brunch with us tomorrow," Marcus said. "Both of you. I know a place with great pancakes." Maya thought about saying no about protecting her heart and Lily's, but looking into Marcus's hopeful eyes, she found herself nodding. Later that night, in his penthouse office, Marcus stared at the still unopened file about Maya. His private investigator had called earlier with an urgent update, but Marcus had cut him off. For the first time in his life, he didn't want to know all the angles. He wanted to discover Maya naturally, to let whatever was growing between them develop without his usual calculated approach. He put the file through his shredder without reading it. Across town, as Maya tucked a sleepy Lily into bed, her phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. "Thank you for a wonderful evening. Sweet dreams." Maya smiled, but worry nagged at her heart. She'd learned the hard way that things that seemed too good to be true usually were. And Marcus Sterling definitely seemed too good to be true. What she didn't know was that across town, in a dimly lit office, someone else was looking at a file about Marcus Sterling. And what that file contained would shake both their worlds to the core. The next morning dawned bright and clear. Maya helped Lily pick out her favorite dress for brunch, trying to calm her own nerves. She kept telling herself this was just brunch, just getting to know each other. But her heart knew better. Something significant was happening. Something that would change their lives forever. Whether that change would be for better or worse remained to be seen. And the secrets both Maya and Marcus were keeping would soon come to light, testing whatever was growing between them in ways neither could imagine. The pancake house Marcus chose was nothing like Maya expected. Instead of another fancy restaurant, it was a cozy family place with checkered tablecloths and crayons at every table. Lily's eyes lit up when she saw the kids' menu she could color. "I hoped this would be more comfortable," Marcus said quietly to Maya as they settled into a booth. "For both of you." Maya felt her heart warm at his thoughtfulness. She watched as Marcus helped Lily decide between chocolate chip and blueberry pancakes, treating her daughter's decision with the same seriousness he probably gave to million-dollar business deals. "Both," he suggested with a wink at Lily. "Life's too short to choose just one kind of pancake." As they ate, Maya was struck by how natural it felt, the three of them sharing breakfast like a regular family. Marcus asked Lily about school and her favorite subjects, listening intently to her excited chatter about her science project on the solar system. "You know," he said, "Sterling Enterprises is working with NASA on a new research facility. Maybe we could arrange a tour sometime?" Lily's eyes went wide. "Really? Could we see real spaceships?" "We'll see what we can do," Marcus smiled, glancing at Maya for approval. She nodded, touched by how he included her in the decision. After breakfast, Marcus suggested a walk through the nearby park. Lily ran ahead to the playground while Maya and Marcus sat on a bench watching her. "She's a remarkable child," Marcus said. "Just like her mother." Maya felt herself blush. "Marcus, what are we doing here?" He turned to face her. "Getting to know each other, seeing where this might lead." "But we're from such different worlds. She gestured helplessly. "You're you and I'm just—" "An incredible woman who's raised an amazing daughter on her own," Marcus interrupted. "Who works harder than anyone I've ever met. Who makes me feel more alive than I have in years." Before Maya could respond, her phone rang. It was Mrs. Martinez, sounding panicked. "Maya, 2 men were here asking questions about you. They said they were private investigators. They wanted to know about your schedule, about Lily." Maya's blood ran cold. She looked at Marcus, but he seemed just as concerned. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Someone's been asking questions about me, about Lily." Maya stood up, her protective instincts kicking in. "I need to get her home." Marcus's face hardened. "Let me help. I have security personnel." "No," Maya said firmly. "I don't know what's going on, but I need to handle this myself. I need to protect my daughter." "Maya, please." Marcus reached for her hand. "Let me explain." But Maya was already calling Lily from the playground. "We need to go, baby." "But Mommy, I was playing with my new friend, Marcus." "Now, Lily." Maya's tone left no room for argument. "Backy." At their apartment, Maya paced nervously while Lily napped in her room. Her phone kept buzzing with calls from Marcus, but she ignored them. Private investigators? Was Marcus checking up on her, or was something else going on? She jumped at a knock on her door. Looking through the peephole, she saw a man in a suit holding a badge. "Miss Johnson? I'm Detective Roberts. We need to talk about James Carter." Maya's heart stopped. She hadn't heard that name in 7 years. Not since the night everything changed. She opened the door with trembling hands. "What about James?" "He's been released from prison," the detective said grimly. "And he's looking for you and your daughter." Maya sank into a chair, memories flooding back. James Carter, Lily's father, the man who had disappeared when Maya got pregnant. The man she later learned had been arrested for armed robbery and assault. The man who had sworn revenge on Maya for testifying against him. Her phone buzzed again with a text from Marcus. "Maya, please let me explain. What's happening isn't what you think. I can protect you both." But how could she trust him? How could she trust anyone? Another knock at the door made her jump. This time it was Shanice from the diner. "Girl, you need to see this," she said, thrusting a tablet at Maya. On the screen was a business news website with the headline, "Sterling Enterprises CEO Marcus Sterling's secret connection to Chicago crime family revealed." Maya read in horror as the article detailed Marcus's apparent ties to organized crime through his development projects. The same organizations that had been connected to James Carter's crimes 7 years ago. "It's not true," Marcus's voice came from behind them. He stood in the hallway looking desperate. "Maya, please let me explain everything." Shanice stepped protectively in front of Maya. "Should I call the police?" Maya looked at Marcus, the man who had seemed too good to be true. The man who had made her believe in second chances. The man who might be connected to the father of her child. The man she'd helped put in prison. "You have 5 minutes," she said finally. "Talk." Marcus stepped into the apartment, his usual confidence replaced by genuine fear, not for himself, but for her. 7 years ago, he began, my company was targeted by a money laundering scheme. James Carter was part of it. When I discovered what was happening, I worked with the FBI to bring them down. That's why I recognized your name, Maya. You were the key witness. Maya felt the room spin. You knew, all this time. I knew who you were, Marcus admitted. But everything else, meeting you, getting to know you, falling for you, that was real. I never read the full file my investigators prepared. I wanted to know you for who you are now, not who you were then. And the men asking questions today? FBI agents, Marcus said. I called them as soon as I heard Carter was being released. I've been trying to protect you, Maya, both of you. Before Maya could respond, her phone rang again. The number was blocked. Hello. Maya, a cold voice said. Miss me? 7 years is a long time to think about revenge. How's our little girl? Maya's legs gave out. Marcus caught her before she could fall, taking the phone. Carter, he said grimly, the FBI is already on their way. Sterling, James laughed. Still playing hero? You can't protect them. I'll get what's mine. The line went dead. Marcus held Maya as she shook. I won't let him near either of you, he promised, but you have to trust me, please. From Lily's room came the sound of her singing along to a cartoon, so innocent, so unaware of the danger. Maya looked up at Marcus, seeing not the billionaire businessman, but the man who had treated her daughter with kindness, who had tried to protect them both. What do we do now? She whispered. First we get you both somewhere safe, Marcus said. Then we end this together. Shanice watched them with worried eyes. I'll stay with Lily while you pack some things. Maya nodded, her mind racing. 7 years of peace shattered in a single day. But as she looked at Marcus, she saw something in his eyes that gave her hope. Determination, strength, and something else. Something that looked a lot like love. What she didn't know was that across town, James Carter was meeting with someone else who had a score to settle with Marcus Sterling. Someone who had been waiting for the perfect moment to destroy everything Marcus had built, and Maya and Lily were the key to their plan. Marcus's private security team arrived within minutes. Maya rushed to pack a bag for herself and Lily, her hands shaking as she threw clothes into a suitcase. She could hear Marcus in the living room giving rapid-fire instructions over the phone. Mommy, where are we going? Lily asked, clutching her favorite stuffed astronaut bear. Is it a vacation? Maya forced a smile. Something like that, baby. An adventure with Marcus, won't that be fun? Shanice helped them pack while 2 security guards stood watch at the door. Girl, you call me if you need anything, she whispered, hugging Maya tight. Anytime, day or night. The elevator was shut down, and Marcus's head of security, a stern-faced woman named Sarah, led them down the back stairs. 3 black SUVs waited in the alley behind the building. We split up, Sarah explained. Standard protocol. Mrs. Martinez. Confirmed 2 men were watching the front of the building. Maya clutched Lily closer. Marcus put a protective arm around them both. I'm riding with them, he said firmly, when Sarah started to object. Where's the safest location? The lake house, Sarah replied. It's secure, remote, and not connected to Sterling Enterprises. They got into the middle SUV, security teams taking the vehicles in front and behind. As they pulled away, Maya saw a suspicious car start to follow them. We've got company, Sarah said from the driver's seat. Hold on. What followed was like something out of an action movie. Sarah took them through a series of complex turns, through parking garages and down side streets. Finally, she pulled into an underground garage where they quickly switched to a different vehicle, a modest minivan that wouldn't draw attention. We lost them, Sarah confirmed after another hour of careful driving. Lily had fallen asleep on Maya's lap, exhausted from what she thought was an exciting game. Maya stroked her daughter's hair, her mind racing with questions. "The lake house is about 2 hours away," Marcus said softly. "Try to rest. You're both safe now." Maya turned to him. "How long have you been watching us? Protecting us?" Marcus sighed. "I found out James Carter was up for parole 3 months ago. That's when I assigned the security detail. But I swear, Maya, running into you that day was pure chance. Getting to know you, falling for you, that had nothing to do with Carter. Why didn't you tell me?" "I was afraid," he admitted. "Afraid you'd run. Afraid you wouldn't trust that my feelings were real." He took her hand. "I've never felt this way about anyone, Maya. Seeing you with Lily, seeing your strength and your heart. I'm in love with you. Both of you." Maya's heart skipped a beat at his words, but before she could respond, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Her blood ran cold as she read it. "Did you really think you could hide? I know about the lake house. I know everything. TikTok." Marcus read the message and immediately called Sarah. "Change of plans. The lake house is compromised. Take us to the tower." The tower, Maya soon learned, was a secret panic room at the top of Sterling Enterprises headquarters. As they rode up in a private elevator, Marcus explained that only 5 people knew about its existence. "It's completely secure," he assured her. "The whole floor is bulletproof with its own power and water supply. You'll be safe here while we deal with Carter." The space was like a luxury apartment, with comfortable bedrooms, a stocked kitchen, and even a small indoor playground that made Lily squeal with delight. "Look, Mommy, a rocket ship." She ran to play on the space-themed climbing structure. Maya watched her daughter play, trying to hold back tears. "How did everything get so complicated? This morning we were having pancakes." Marcus pulled her into his arms. "I'm so sorry you're caught up in this, but I promise you, I'm going to fix it. Carter won't hurt you or Lily." "He's not working alone," Maya said, suddenly remembering something. At his trial there was evidence of a partner, someone higher up who was never caught. The money laundering scheme was too sophisticated for James to have planned alone. Marcus's face darkened. "I think I know who it might be. Richard Hawthorne, my former business partner. He disappeared right before the FBI investigation 7 years ago. Last week, he was spotted back in Chicago." Maya's phone buzzed again. Another message. "Ask Marcus about Victoria. Ask him what really happened to her." "Who's Victoria?" Maya asked, seeing how Marcus went pale at the name. He sat heavily on the sofa. "My wife, ex-wife, she died in a car accident 5 years ago." He paused. "At least that's what everyone believes. The truth is she disappeared after discovering something about Hawthorne's connection to the crime family. The accident was staged." "Oh my God," Maya whispered. "The FBI could never prove it, but I know Hawthorne was behind it, and now he's working with Carter." Marcus ran his hands through his hair in frustration. "They're not just after revenge. They want to destroy everything I've built, and they're using you and Lily to do it." Sarah burst in, looking worried. "Sir, there's been a breach at the main office. Someone hacked our systems. They're threatening to release documents showing Sterling Enterprises was involved in the money laundering scheme from the beginning." "That's impossible," Marcus protested. "The FBI cleared us. The documents are forgeries, but very good ones. The press is already starting to pick up the story." Maya watched as Marcus's world started to crumble. His phone was ringing constantly, with calls from board members and reporters, but instead of answering them, he turned to her. "None of that matters," he said firmly. "Keeping you and Lily safe is all I care about." As if on cue, the lights flickered. Sarah rushed to check the security system. "Someone's trying to override the elevator controls," she reported. "We need to move, now." Maya ran to get Lily from the playground area, but stopped cold. There was a new message on her phone, this one with a photo attached. It showed Lily playing on the rocket ship, taken from inside the supposedly secure panic room. They weren't alone. "Marcus!" she screamed, running toward her daughter. But before she could reach her, the lights went out completely, plunging them into darkness. When the emergency lights came on seconds later, Maya's worst nightmare had come true. The rocket ship was empty. Lily was gone. Maya's scream echoed through the darkened panic room. "Lily, baby, where are you?" Marcus and Sarah immediately sprang into action, guns drawn. The security team swept the room, checking every possible hiding place. But Maya knew in her heart it was useless. A mother's instinct told her Lily wasn't there anymore. How? Marcus demanded of Sarah. This room was supposed to be impenetrable. Someone had to help them from the inside, Sarah said grimly. We have a traitor on the security team. Maya's phone rang, another blocked number. Her hands shook as she answered on speakerphone. Missing something? James Carter's cold voice filled the room. Don't worry, our little girl is safe for now. Please, Maya begged, her voice breaking. She's just a child, don't hurt her. Hurt her? I'm her father. I just want to spend some quality time with my daughter. His tone turned hard. Something. You denied me for 7 years. Marcus grabbed the phone. Carter, whatever you want, you can have it. Money, revenge, anything. Just don't harm the child. Oh, Sterling, always trying to solve everything with money. But this isn't about money anymore. This is about justice. Meet us at the old Sterling Steel factory in an hour. Come alone. Both of you. No police, no security team. Or you'll never see Lily again. The line went dead. Maya collapsed into Marcus's arms, sobbing. This is all my fault. I should have told her about James years ago. I should have been more careful. No, Marcus said firmly. This is my fault, my past, my enemies, but I swear to you we'll get her back. Sarah was already pulling up blueprints of the old factory on her tablet. It's a trap. The building's been abandoned for years. Too many places for an ambush. We don't have a choice, Maya said, wiping her eyes. Her fear was turning to determination. That's my baby girl out there, Marcus nodded. Sarah, I need you to coordinate with the FBI, but keep them at a distance. We go in alone as demanded. But I want backup ready. Sir, that's too dangerous. Let us handle this. No, Marcus said. I started this 7 years ago when I exposed their operation. I need to end it. Maya went to the bedroom to grab her jacket and found another text waiting on her phone. This one was different, from a number she didn't recognize. I know who took your daughter. I can help. I'm Victoria. Sterling? Maya stared at the message in shock. Marcus's supposedly dead wife was alive. Before she could decide whether to tell Marcus, another message came through with a photo. It showed Lily, apparently unharmed, sitting in what looked like an office coloring. She's safe for now, Victoria's message continued. But Richard Hawthorne is more dangerous than you know. James Carter is just his puppet. Don't trust anyone on Marcus's security team. Maya quickly deleted the messages. Her mind was spinning, but one thing was clear. She needed more information before she could trust anyone, even Marcus. Back in the main room, Marcus was strapping on a bulletproof vest. He handed one to Maya. I won't let anything happen to you, he promised. Maya looked into his eyes, seeing the love there, but also secrets. There's something you're not telling me about Victoria's death, isn't there? Marcus froze. What do you mean? The way you talked about her disappearance. There's more to the story. He sank into a chair, suddenly looking exhausted. Victoria was investigating Richard Hawthorne. She found evidence that he was still running the money laundering operation through shell companies, even after the FBI investigation. The night before her accident, she called me. Said she had proof that someone high up in Sterling Enterprises was helping him. Who? She never got to tell me. The next morning, her car went off a bridge. The body was never found. Marcus's voice broke. I should have protected her better, just like I should have protected you and Lily. Maya's phone buzzed again. Victoria. Time's running out. Northeast corner of the factory. There's a service entrance. Security code 5479. I'll meet you there. We need to go, Maya said, making a decision. She wouldn't tell Marcus about Victoria yet, not until she knew who she could trust. The drive to the factory was tense. Maya watched the city lights blur past, praying her daughter was really safe. She thought about James Carter, the charming man she'd fallen for 8 years ago, before she discovered his true nature. Now here she was, falling for another powerful man with dangerous secrets. What aren't you telling me? Marcus asked suddenly. Maya started. What? You're too calm. The Maya I know would be falling apart right now. You have a plan, don't you? She looked at him. This man she was falling in love with despite everything. Do you trust me? With my life? Then trust me now. When we get there, follow my lead. The old sterling steel factory loomed ahead, a dark hulk against the night sky. As Marcus parked in the shadows, Maya's phone lit up one last time. Victoria. Carter and Hawthorne are in the main office on the second floor. Lily is in the security office near the entrance, guarded by one man. The rest of the security team is compromised. Get your daughter and get out. I'll handle the rest. Maya took a deep breath. Marcus, there's something you need to know. But before she could continue, shots rang out in the darkness. Marcus shoved her down behind the car as bullets pinged off the metal. So much for coming alone, James Carter's voice echoed from somewhere above. Looks like little Lily will have to pay for Mommy and Daddy's mistake. No, Maya screamed. In the chaos, she locked eyes with Marcus. In that moment, they both knew. No more secrets, no more plans. Only one thing mattered now. They had to save their little girl. Through the factory windows, Maya caught a glimpse of movement. A female figure in black, moving purposefully through the shadows. Victoria Sterling was making her move. The night was about to explode into violence, and somewhere in that dark building, an innocent child waited for rescue, unaware that her life was at the center of a web of lies, betrayal, and redemption. Years in the making, Maya grabbed Marcus's hand. Together? He squeezed back. Together. They ran toward the building as more shots echoed through the night, each step taking them closer to either salvation or disaster. The truth about everything, Victoria Hawthorne Sterling Enterprises, was about to come out, and nothing would ever be the same. Maya and Marcus crouched behind a rusted shipping container, bullets ricocheting off metal around them. The factory's security lights cast eerie shadows across the empty loading dock. The service entrance, Maya whispered, pointing to a dark doorway in the corner. That's our way in. Marcus nodded, his face grim. On 3, 1, 2. They sprinted across the open space as more shots rang out. Maya's heart pounded as she punched in the code Victoria had sent, 5479. The door clicked open and they ducked inside just as bullets peppered the wall behind them. The service corridor was dark and musty. Their footsteps echoed on the concrete floor as they moved carefully forward, guided by the dim glow of emergency exit signs. The security office should be just ahead, Maya said, thinking of Victoria's message. Marcus grabbed her arm. Wait, how do you know that? Before Maya could answer, a figure stepped out of the shadows. Marcus raised his gun, then froze. Hello, darling, Victoria Sterling said softly. Miss me? She looked different from the society photos Maya had seen, harder, more dangerous. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a severe ponytail, and she wore tactical gear instead of designer clothes. Victoria? Marcus's voice cracked. But how? We don't have time for the full story, Victoria said sharply. Your daughter is in the security office with one guard, James Carter and Richard Hawthorne. Are upstairs with most of their men. The guard's name is Tommy. He's new, scared, and in way over his head. Maya stepped forward. Why are you helping us? Victoria's eyes softened slightly. Because an innocent child shouldn't pay for our sins. She turned to Marcus. Hawthorne didn't just try to kill me 5 years ago. He killed our baby. I was 3 months pregnant when he arranged that car accident. Marcus staggered back against the wall. You were pregnant. Why didn't you tell me? Because I knew you'd try to stop me from investigating Hawthorne. I had to make him believe I was dead so I could gather evidence. Victoria checked her watch. FBI tactical teams are in position around the building. In 15 minutes they move in. Get your daughter and get out before all hell breaks loose. She handed Maya a key card. This will open the security office. Tommy won't give you trouble. I've already convinced him to cooperate. Victoria. Marcus reached for her, but she stepped back. We'll talk later, if we survive this. Right now, focus on saving your new family. Her voice held no bitterness, only resignation. I've been watching you with them, Marcus. They're good for you, better than I ever was. Before either of them could respond, Victoria melted back into the shadows. Maya squeezed Marcus's hand. seeing the pain and confusion on his face. "Later," she whispered. "Lily first." They found Tommy exactly where Victoria said he would be. The young guard jumped when they entered, immediately raising his hands. "She's in the back room," he said quickly. "I didn't know they were going to kidnap. A kid, I swear, I just needed the money." Maya barely heard him, rushing past to find Lily curled up on a small couch, clutching her astronaut bear and watching cartoons on a tablet. "Mommy!" Lily launched herself into Maya's arms. "The nice lady brought me my bear and let me watch shows." Maya hugged her daughter tight, tears streaming down her face. Marcus wrapped his arms around them both, and for a moment they were just a family, together and safe. The moment shattered as explosions rocked the building. Gunfire erupted above them. "FBI, this is a raid! Everyone on the ground!" Marcus grabbed. Lily and Maya followed as they ran back toward the service entrance. But they turned a corner and found James Carter blocking their path, gun raised. "Family reunion time," he sneered. "Put my daughter down." "She's not your daughter," Maya said, fiercely. "You gave up that right 7 years ago." "Shut up." Carter's hand shook. "You ruined my life, both of you. You, Sterling, with your self-righteous crusade against corruption. And you, Maya, testifying against me. Now you're together, playing happy family with my child. It's over." "James," Marcus said calmly, shielding Lily with his body. "The FBI is here. Hawthorne can't protect you anymore." "You think I care about Hawthorne?" Carter laughed wildly. "He promised me revenge. That's all I wanted, and I'm going to get it." He aimed at Marcus, but before he could pull the trigger, another shot rang out. Carter crumpled, revealing Victoria standing behind him. "With a smoking gun, go," she shouted. "Hawthorne's men are coming." They ran, Maya's lungs burning as they sprinted through the dark corridors. Behind them, the sounds of fighting grew louder. They burst out into the cool night air just as more. Explosions rocked the building. FBI agents swarmed around them, whisking them to safety behind their lines. Maya clutched Lily close, watching as the old factory became a war zone. "Victoria's still in there," Marcus said, trying to go back. 2 agents had to hold him back as part of the building collapsed in a shower of sparks and debris. Maya's heart ached for him, to find his wife alive, only to lose her again. But then a figure emerged from the smoke. Victoria, dusty but alive, helping agents drag a handcuffed Richard Hawthorne. "It's over," she said, pushing Hawthorne toward a waiting FBI van. 7 years of undercover work, finally finished. Maya's head spun. "Undercover?" Victoria nodded. "FBI agent Victoria Chen. Victoria Sterling was my cover identity." She looked at Marcus sadly. "The marriage was real for me too, Marcus. But this mission, it had to come first. Hawthorne's organization had killed too many people." Marcus sat heavily on the bumper of an ambulance, watching as paramedics checked Lily for injuries. "All this time—" "I'm sorry," Victoria said softly, "for everything, but look at what you've built." She nodded toward Maya and Lily. "Don't let the past destroy your future." As if to emphasize her point, Lily broke away from the paramedics and ran to Marcus, climbing into his lap. "Did you see the explosions?" she asked excitedly. "They were like fireworks. Can we go get pancakes now? I'm hungry." Maya laughed through her tears, and even Marcus managed to smile. Victoria watched them for a moment, then turned away. "Agent Chen," she called over her shoulder. "That's my real name if you ever need anything." As she walked away, Maya took Marcus's hand. "Are you okay?" He looked at her, then at Lily, who was falling asleep in his arms. "I will be, as long as I have you both." Maya leaned her head on his shoulder, watching the sun rise over the chaos of the night. Their story wasn't over. There would be questions to answer, trauma to process, a future to build. But they would face it together, this unlikely family, forged in crisis and bound by love. Behind them, FBI agents led away James Carter and Richard Hawthorne in handcuffs. The truth about Sterling Enterprises would come out, but Maya knew Marcus would rebuild, better and stronger than before. "Take us home," she said softly. Marcus kissed her temple. "We are home. Right here. Together." Lily stirred in his arms. Can we still go see the spaceships?" "Yes, baby," Maya smiled. "We can do anything now." As they drove away from the scene, Maya's phone buzzed one last time. A message from Victoria. "No, Agent Chen. Take care of them. They're the real thing. And thank you for helping me finish what I started 7 years ago. Some lies are worth telling if they lead to the truth." Maya deleted the message and turned off her phone. The future was waiting, and for the first time in 7 years, she was ready to embrace it without fear. The morning sun painted the city gold as they drove home. A new family born from the ashes of the past, their love stronger, for having been tested by fire. The morning after the factory raid, Maya woke up in an unfamiliar bed. For a moment she panicked before remembering where she was, Marcus's penthouse, where FBI agents had insisted they stay for security. Lily was curled up beside her, sleeping peacefully, her astronaut bear tucked under one arm. Maya slipped out of bed carefully, not wanting to wake her daughter. The events of the past 24 hours felt like a nightmare, but the morning news playing softly in the living room confirmed it was all real. Sterling Enterprises CEO Marcus Sterling cleared of corruption charges, the reporter announced. FBI reveals 7-year undercover operation leading to arrest of crime boss Richard Hawthorne. Marcus stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, watching the sunrise over the city. He looked exhausted, still wearing yesterday's clothes. "Have you slept at all?" Maya asked softly. He turned, managing a small smile. "How could I? Every time I close my eyes, I see you and Lily in danger. I see Victoria." He trailed off. Running a hand through his disheveled hair, Maya went to him, wrapping her arms around his waist. "We're safe now. It's over." "Is it?" He pulled away slightly. "Maya, my whole life for the past 7 years has been built on lies. My marriage, my company's reputation, everything." "Not everything," she said firmly. What you have with Lily, that's real." As if summoned by her name, Lily padded into the living room in her Disney princess pajamas. "I'm hungry," she announced, seemingly unfazed by their grand surroundings. Marcus immediately switched from troubled businessman to caring father figure. "How about chocolate chip pancakes? I have a chef who makes the best ones in Chicago." Lily's eyes lit up. "With whipped cream." "With everything you want, princess." Maya watched them head to the kitchen, her heart full but worried. How long could this bubble of domestic happiness last? The real world was waiting outside, full of reporters and questions and complications. Her phone buzzed, Shanice calling, to check on them. "Girl, you're all over the news. Are you okay? Is Lily okay?" "We're fine," Maya assured her friend, "just processing everything." "Well, process this. There's a reporter here at the diner offering big money for an interview about your rags-to-riches romance with Marcus Sterling." Maya groaned. She should have expected this. Her quiet life was over. The elevator dinged, and Sarah, Marcus's head of security, stepped out. She looked as immaculate as ever, despite having been up all night dealing with the aftermath of the raid. "Sir," she addressed Marcus, who was helping Lily arrange chocolate chips in a smiley face on her pancakes. "The board is demanding an emergency meeting, and the press is camped out downstairs." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Tell them I'll be available this afternoon. Family comes first." The word family hung in the air, making Maya's heart skip. But before she could dwell on it, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was Agent Chen. "Victoria. Turn on Channel 7. Now the text read. Maya grabbed the remote and changed channels. Her blood ran cold as she saw James Carter being interviewed from jail. "Maya Johnson isn't the innocent victim she pretends to be," he was saying. "Ask her about the money she stole 7 years ago. Ask her why she really testified against me." Marcus muted the TV, but the damage was done. Maya sank onto the couch, her past rushing back to haunt her. "Maya?" Marcus's voice was careful, controlled. "What is he talking about?" "Not in front of Lily," she whispered. Marcus nodded. "Sarah, can you take Lily to see the roof garden? I hear there's a butterfly sanctuary up there." Once they were alone, Maya took a deep breath. 7 years ago, before I knew what James really was, I worked as a bookkeeper for one of his construction companies. When I discovered the money laundering, I took evidence. And yes, some money. Not for myself, for Lily. She looked up at Marcus, tears in her eyes. "I was pregnant, scared, and I knew James would try to hurt us when he found out I was going to the FBI. I needed something to start over, to protect my baby. The FBI knew. It was part of my immunity deal when I testified. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Maya's heart raced as she waited for his reaction. Finally, he spoke. How much? $200,000, Maya whispered. I have most of it left. I never touched it. It's Lily's college fund. Blood money, but I told myself it was the least James owed his child. To her surprise, Marcus laughed. A real, genuine laugh that made her stare at him in confusion. Maya Johnson, you are something else, he said, pulling her into his arms. You outsmarted a crime boss, protected your child, and kept your integrity intact. That's not something to be ashamed of. You're not angry. Angry. I'm impressed. And even more in love with you than I was 5 minutes ago. Maya melted into his embrace, relief washing over her. But their moment was interrupted by Sarah rushing back in, looking worried. Sir, we have a problem. Someone leaked documents about the money. The press is running with it, spinning it like Maya was part of the criminal enterprise and... She hesitated. What is it? Marcus demanded. Richard. Hawthorne was found dead in his cell an hour ago. Apparent suicide, but nothing about Hawthorne is ever as it appears. Marcus finished grimly. Maya's phone buzzed again. Agent Chen. Hawthorne's death wasn't suicide. He had fail-safes in place. Documents that would be released if anything happened to him. This isn't over. Marcus read the message over her shoulder. We need to get ahead of this. Maya, I know you wanted to keep our relationship private, protect Lily from the spotlight, but maybe it's time to tell our story on our terms. A press conference? Maya asked skeptically. No, Marcus smiled. Something more personal. Remember, Karen Chen from the Chronicle, the reporter who covered my charitable work? Karen Chen. Victoria Chun. Maya's eyes widened. Their sisters, Moses nodded. Victoria's sister is one of the most respected in Chicago, and she knows the whole story. She can help us tell the truth. All of it. Maya looked out at the city spread below them, thinking about how much her life had changed in just a few days. From struggling single mum to the center of a media storm, from lonely to loved, from hiding her past to facing it head-on. Okay, she said finally, but first I need to tell Lily everything. About James, about the money, about us. She deserves the truth. Marcus kissed her softly. We'll tell her together, as a family. On the roof garden, they could hear Lily's delighted laughter as she chased butterflies. The sound reminded Maya what all this was for. Not money or power or revenge, but love and protection, and a future worth fighting for. Her phone buzzed one last time. Agent Chen again. Whatever happens next, remember, you're stronger than you. No, both of you are. The truth may hurt, but lies kill. Trust each other, trust your love. Maya deleted the message and took Marcus's hand. Ready? He squeezed back. With you, always. Together, they headed up to the roof garden, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The media storm could wait. Right now, their little girl was chasing butterflies in a garden above the city, and nothing was more important than that moment of pure joy. But in a prison cell across town, James Carter smiled as he hung up the phone. Hawthorne might be dead, but his plans were very much alive. And Maya's perfect new life was about to come crashing down around her. Karen Chen's office at the Chicago Chronicle was warm and inviting, with walls covered in framed front pages and journalism awards. She looked strikingly like her sister Victoria, but softer somehow, with reading glasses and a gentle smile that put Maya at ease. Let's start at the beginning, Karen said, setting up her recorder. Tell me about the day you met Marcus. Maya glanced at Marcus, who sat beside her holding her hand. They'd left Lily at his penthouse with Sarah and a team of security guards. After James Carter's television appearance, they weren't taking any chances. I literally ran into him, Maya began, smiling at the memory. I was late picking up Lily from daycare. For the next 2 hours, they told Karen everything. The chance, meeting, the growing romance, the kidnapping, the truth about Victoria and Maya's past with James Carter. Karen listened intently, occasionally asking questions, but mostly letting them tell their story. "The public will love this," she said finally, clicking off her recorder. "The billionaire and the single mom finding love while fighting corruption. Here's perfect." "Maybe too perfect," Maya worried. "What if people think we're making it up?" "That's why we have documentation," Karen assured her. "FBI records, security footage, witness statements. No one can claim this is just a PR story." Marcus's phone buzzed. He checked it and frowned. "The board meeting is in an hour. They're voting on whether to keep me as CEO." "Go," Maya said. "I'll finish up here." He kissed her goodbye, and Karen waited until he was gone before leaning forward. "There's something else you should know. Something Victoria asked me to tell you privately." Maya tensed. "What is it?" "James Carter made a deal with the prosecutor this morning. He's agreed to testify about corruption at Sterling Enterprises in exchange for a reduced sentence." "But Marcus was cleared," Maya protested. "The FBI investigation proved—" "Carter claims he has evidence from before the FBI investigation, from when Marcus first took over the company." Karen removed her glasses. "Victoria wants you to be prepared. Things might get ugly." Maya's phone chimed with a text from Shanice. "Girl, you need to see this. Someone posted old photos of you and James online, looking real cozy." Her hands shaking, Maya pulled up the news site Shanice linked. There they were, photos from 8 years ago. Maya and James at parties, at charity events, looking young and in love. The captions were brutal. "Marcus Sterling's new love has a type. Wealthy men with secrets." "Don't let it get to you," Karen said, seeing Maya's expression. "We'll address it in the article. Show how James manipulated you, how you helped bring him to justice." But Maya was already gathering her things. "I need to get home to Lily." The elevator ride to Marcus's penthouse felt endless. When the doors finally opened, Maya found chaos. FBI agents were everywhere and Sarah looked grim. "What's wrong?" Maya's heart raced. "Where's Lily?" "She's fine," Sarah assured her quickly. "She's in her room with the protection detail, but we have a situation. Someone tried to hack our security system. They were looking for financial records from 7 years ago." Maya sank onto the couch. "James Carter. We think he's working with someone inside Sterling Enterprises," Sarah confirmed. "Someone who wants to destroy Marcus." "Mommy!" Lily ran out of her room, jumping into Maya's arms. "Look what Marcus got me." She proudly showed off a new telescope, a professional-grade model that must have cost thousands. Maya's heart melted, thinking of Marcus trying to make their daughter's dreams come true, even in the middle of crisis. Her phone rang. Marcus. "Turn on the news," he said without preamble. His voice was tight with tension. The breaking news headline made Maya's blood run cold. "Sterling Enterprises CEO Marcus Sterling accused of orchestrating 7-year-old murder." Victim's family speaks out. The story showed a grieving woman claiming her brother had been killed for discovering financial irregularities at Sterling Enterprises, just before Marcus took over as CEO. The timing matched when Marcus had first exposed the corruption, when Victoria had gone undercover. "It's not true," Marcus said fiercely. "But the board, they're suspending me pending an investigation. I'm on my way home." "Marcus, wait," Maya said. "There's something you need to know about James Carter." But the line went dead. Maya tried calling back, straight to voicemail. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Did you really think you could escape your past? Time to choose, your new love or your old one. Meet me at midnight where it all began, or Marcus learns what really happened the night of the robbery." "Your choice, princess." Maya's hands trembled as she deleted the message. The night of the robbery, the night she'd discovered she was pregnant, the night James had shown his true colors, the night she'd made a choice that would haunt her forever. "Maya," Sarah touched her shoulder. "Are you okay?" "I need to make a call," Maya said numbly. She went to the bedroom and dialed Victoria's number. "I was wondering when you'd call," Agent Chen answered. "You remembered something about that night, didn't you?" "James wasn't working alone," Maya whispered. "There was someone else there, someone who looks a lot like Marcus. His brother," Victoria finished, "Thomas Sterling, the black sheep of the family, presumed dead in a boating accident 6 years ago." Maya closed her eyes as the memories flooded back. Thomas's face in the darkness, his voice so like his brother's, the gunshot that had changed everything. "Does Marcus know?" she asked. "That his brother is alive, that he was working with Carter?" "No." "And if Thomas is back, then everything that's happening, the photos, the murder accusation, the hacking, it's all about revenge," Maya realized. "Thomas is using James to destroy his brother." "Be careful," Victoria warned. "Thomas Sterling is more dangerous than Carter ever was. He has nothing left to lose." Maya ended the call and went to check on Lily. Her daughter was happily setting up her new telescope by the window, chattering excitedly about seeing the stars. Looking at her innocent face, Maya made a decision. She couldn't let the past destroy their future. She had to end this tonight. Her phone buzzed one more time. A photo of Marcus arriving at their old apartment building, where everything had started 7 years ago, where James had promised to meet her at midnight. It was a trap. She knew it was a trap, but she also knew she had no choice. "Sarah," she called, "I need you to protect Lily, and I need you to give Marcus a message." The sun was setting over Chicago, painting the sky blood red. In a few hours, Maya would face her past and fight for her future. But this time, she wasn't the same, scared young woman she'd been 7 years ago. This time she was ready. This time she had something worth fighting for. And this time she wasn't alone. The night air was thick with tension as Maya approached her old apartment building. The street was eerily quiet, most of the windows dark. She checked her phone. 11:55 p.m. Almost time. She'd left Lily sleeping peacefully in the penthouse, surrounded by FBI agents and Sarah's security team. Marcus still wasn't answering his phone. Maya's message to him sat unread. "I love you. Trust me." The front door of the building was unlocked. Maya's footsteps echoed in the empty hallway as she climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor. This was where she'd lived 7 years ago, where everything had changed. "Right on time," a familiar voice said from the shadows. James Carter stepped into the dim light, looking older, but just as dangerous as she remembered. "Some things never change. Do they, Princess?" "Where's Marcus?" Maya demanded. James smiled coldly. "Probably still trying to save his company. Poor guy has no idea his own brother is behind everything." "Thomas is here, isn't he?" "Smart girl." Another voice, so similar to Marcus's but harder, colder. Thomas Sterling emerged from the darkness of Maya's old apartment. "Always were too clever for your own good." Maya's mind raced back 7 years. She had been working late at Carter Construction, going through the books, when she'd discovered the truth about the money laundering. She'd called Marcus Sterling, the new CEO, wanting to do the right thing, but it hadn't been Marcus who showed up that night. "You remember, don't you?" Thomas said softly. "The night you thought you were meeting my perfect brother. The night you found out just how deep the corruption went. The night you shot that security guard," Maya whispered. "The night I saw who you really were, both of you." James moved closer. "You were supposed to be mine. We had plans. Then you had to play hero, had to run to Marcus. I was pregnant." Maya's voice shook with anger. "You were going to kill me just like you killed that guard." "No one was supposed to die," Thomas said, "but Richard got nervous, started cleaning house. The guard, Victoria, my convenient accident, Hawthorne, thought he was protecting the operation, but he was just a pawn. This was always about destroying Marcus," Maya realized. "Your own brother." Thomas laughed bitterly. "The golden boy, father's favorite. He got everything, the company, the respect, the love, even you." "Where is he?" Maya asked again. "Probably finding out the truth right about now." Thomas checked his watch. Karen Chen's article should be hitting the morning edition. The real story about that night, how Marcus Sterling ordered a hit on a whistleblower, how his criminal empire was built on murder. No one will believe it. They will when they see the evidence, security footage, financial records, witness statements, all carefully crafted over 7 years. Thomas smiled. "And your testimony, of course, about how Marcus threatened you, forced you to lie to the FBI. I won't help you destroy him. You don't have a choice." James pulled out his phone, showing her a video feed. Lily's bedroom in the penthouse. Did you really think all those security guards could protect her? I have people everywhere." Maya's blood ran cold, but before she could respond, another voice cut through the darkness. "Get away from them." Marcus stood in the doorway, gun raised, but he wasn't looking at James. He was staring at his brother, a lifetime of betrayal in his eyes. "Hello, little brother," Thomas said softly. "Surprise. You're dead," Marcus whispered. "The accident. Sorry to disappoint." Again, Thomas hadn't moved, his posture relaxed despite the gun pointed at him. "But then I've always been good at disappointing you, haven't I?" "Why?" Marcus's voice cracked. "Why all this?" "Because you had everything," Thomas exploded. "The company, Dad's approval, the perfect life. Even when I tried to show you the truth about the corruption, you wouldn't listen. You had to play hero, had to clean everything up. Do you know what they did to me in prison?" "Prison?" Maya looked between the brothers. "What prison? Where do you think I've been for 6 years?" Thomas laughed bitterly. "After the accident, Hawthorne made sure I disappeared into the system under a false name, but he kept me alive. His insurance policy against Marcus. I looked for you," Marcus said. "For years I searched." "Not hard enough!" Thomas pulled out his own gun. "And now you're going to lose everything just like I did. Your company, your reputation, your new family." "Don't," Marcus pleaded. "Thomas, whatever I did wrong, they're innocent." "Innocent?" James scoffed. "Maya's as guilty as anyone. She knew about Thomas that night. She could have saved him, told you the truth. But she chose to protect herself, didn't you, Princess?" Maya's heart raced. The truth she'd been hiding for 7 years was about to come out. "I tried to help him," she said quietly. "That night, when I realized it wasn't Marcus who came to meet me, I tried to convince Thomas to go to the FBI, to turn state's evidence. But then the guard came in and James shot him, and Thomas took the blame, said he'd protect James if I kept quiet about him being alive." "You knew?" Marcus stared at her. "All this time? I thought he was dead too until tonight," Maya said. I thought I was protecting you, protecting Lily." "Always so noble," Thomas sneered. "But tonight, everyone's secrets come out, and Big Brother gets to watch his perfect world crumble." He raised his gun, aiming at Marcus. James moved to grab Maya, but they'd all forgotten about the fourth person in the room. "FBI, drop your weapons." Victoria Chen stepped out of the shadows. Gun raised, a team of agents behind her. "It's over, Thomas," she said. "We have Hawthorne's real files, the ones he kept as insurance against you. We know everything." "You're too late," Thomas smiled. "The story's already gone to press. Marcus Sterling, corrupt CEO, murderer." "Check your phone," Victoria said calmly. Thomas pulled out his phone, his face going pale as he read the breaking news alert. Sterling Enterprises corruption case solved. FBI reveals 7-year undercover operation. CEO Marcus Sterling cleared. Karen's a good reporter, Victoria said, but she's an even better sister. Did you really think she'd publish your lies without fact-checking? James made a move for his gun, but FBI agents tackled him before he could reach it. Thomas looked at his brother one last time, years of pain and hatred in his eyes. "You should have looked harder," he whispered, and raised his gun. 2 shots rang. Out in the darkness, Thomas fell, Victoria's bullet finding its mark before he could pull his trigger. But he was smiling as the blood spread across his chest. Check on Lily," he gasped. Maya was already dialing Sarah's number, her heart in her throat. But Thomas's last attempt at revenge had failed there too. His planted security guards had been FBI agents all along. As paramedics worked to save Thomas's life, Marcus pulled Maya into his arms. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I should have told." "No more secrets," he said softly. "No more lies, just us together moving forward." They held each other in the apartment where everything had begun 7 years ago, while outside, the first light of dawn painted the sky with hope. But in the back of the FBI van, James Carter made one last phone call. Because there was one more secret, one more twist of fate that would test Maya and Marcus's love, and this time not even the FBI could protect them from the truth. 3 months had passed since that fateful night in Maya's old apartment building. The Chicago summer was in full swing, and the gardens of the Sterling estate were in full bloom. White flowers lined the path to a flower-covered arch, just as they had 7 years ago on the day Marcus was supposed to marry Victoria. But today was different. Today, Maya stood in front of a mirror in the bridal suite, hardly recognizing herself, in the elegant white dress. Lily twirled nearby in her flower girl dress, practicing her walk down the aisle. "You look like a princess, Mommy," she said, making Maya smile. There was a knock at the door. 5 minutes, Shanice called. She'd insisted on being Maya's maid of honor, saying she'd known. From that first day in the diner that Maya and Marcus were meant to be. Maya's phone buzzed. A text from Victoria, now officially back to being Agent Chen. "Security is in place. Nothing will spoil this day." The past 3 months hadn't been easy. Thomas had survived the shooting but remained in custody, refusing to see Marcus. James Carter had been sentenced to 20 more years for the kidnapping and attempted murder. Charges. The media storm had eventually died down, but not before every detail of their story had been splashed across the headlines. But through it all, Maya and Marcus's love had only grown stronger. They'd faced every challenge together, building trust through honesty and proving that their fairy tale romance was real. Another knock at the door. This time it was Karen Chen, looking elegant in her reporter's press badge and dress. "Everything's ready," she said. "But Maya, there's something you should know. A letter arrived this morning from James Carter." Maya's heart skipped. "Today? Why?" "Because he knew it would hurt the most," Karen said gently. "It's about Lily's birth certificate." Maya sat heavily, careful of her dress. "What about it?" "James isn't Lily's biological father. According to his letter, he knew all along but used it to manipulate you." Karen hesitated. He claims Thomas Sterling is Lily's real father." The room spun. Maya flashed back to that night 7 years ago. The confusion when Thomas showed up instead of Marcus, the brief connection they'd shared before everything went wrong. "Does Marcus know?" "Not yet. The letter was addressed to you." Maya looked at Lily, seeing now what she should have noticed before. The same green eyes as the Sterling brothers, the same determined chin. "I have to tell him," she whispered. "Before?" "The ceremony, he deserves to know." She found Marcus in his study, already handsome in his tuxedo. One look at her face and he knew something was wrong. "Maya, what is it?" She handed him the letter with trembling hands, watched as he read it, his face going pale. "Is it true?" he asked quietly. "I don't know," Maya said honestly. "That night, when I thought he was you, we had a moment of connection before everything went wrong. I never thought I was already seeing James." Marcus was quiet for a long moment, looking out the window at the wedding preparations below. Finally, he turned back to her. "It doesn't matter," he said firmly. "What?" "Lily is my daughter in every way that matters. I've loved her since the moment I met her, and finding out she might be my niece only makes her more family." He took Maya's hands. Unless this changes things for you." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "The only thing that matters is that we love each other, all of us." Marcus pulled her close, careful not to wrinkle her dress. "Then let's get married. We can deal with DNA tests and lawyers later. Today is about our family, the one we've chosen." The ceremony was perfect. Lily scattered rose petals down the aisle, beaming with joy. Maya and Marcus exchanged vows they'd written themselves, promises of honesty and trust and unconditional love. "Family isn't just blood," Marcus said, his voice carrying across the gathered guests. "It's choice, it's love, it's standing together, through the storms and coming out stronger." At the reception, Maya danced with her new husband, surrounded by people who loved them. Janice laughed with Sarah over stories from the diner. Karen Chen covered the wedding for the society pages, while Victoria watched protectively from the shadows. Later that night, after Lily had fallen asleep surrounded by flower petals and cake crumbs, Maya and Marcus stood on their balcony looking out over the city. "I got a call from the prison today," Marcus said softly. "Thomas wants to see us." Maya tensed. "Both of us?" "He's dying, Maya. The doctors give him 6 months. He wants to make things right before..." Marcus couldn't finish. "We'll go together," Maya said. "Whatever he has to say, we'll face it as a family." Her phone buzzed one last time, a final message from James. "Carter. Congratulations, Princess. Sorry about the letter. One last game for old time's sake. Truth is, I lied. I am Lily's father. But watching you sweat was worth it. Enjoy your happy ending. You've earned it." Maya showed the message to Marcus, both of them laughing with relief. "He couldn't resist one last twist," Marcus said, pulling her close. "Does it matter?" Maya asked. "After everything we've been through? Not even a little." Marcus kissed her softly. "You and Lily are my family. Nothing will ever change that." Inside, Lily stirred in her sleep, smiling as she dreamed of spaceships and stars. Tomorrow they would leave for their honeymoon, a NASA. Tour Marcus had arranged specially for his space-obsessed daughter. Life wasn't perfect, but it was real and it was theirs. 7 years ago, a chance meeting had set in motion a chain of events that would change their lives forever. Through lies and truth, pain and healing, love had found a way. Not the fairy tale kind, but something better, something real, tested by fire and stronger for it. Maya looked up at the stars, thinking of all the twists and turns that had led to this moment. The struggling single mom and the billionaire, the secrets and lies, the kidnapping and revelations, it all seemed like something from a soap opera. But their love story was real, and it was just beginning. "What are you thinking about?" Marcus asked, seeing her smile. "About destiny," Maya said softly. "About how sometimes the hardest road leads exactly where you're meant to be." He pulled her closer as a shooting star streaked across the sky. Below them, Chicago glittered like a field of diamonds. The future stretched out before them, full of possibilities. They had faced their pasts, conquered their demons, and emerged stronger. Whatever challenges tomorrow might bring, they would face them together, not as a fairy tale prince and princess, but as real people who had chosen love over fear, truth over lies, family over everything. And somewhere in the night, a little girl dreamed of stars while her parents danced beneath them, their love story still unfolding, still growing, still surprising them with its power to heal and transform. Some said it was too perfect, too much like a fantasy. But Maya and Marcus knew better. Their love story wasn't perfect, it was real, and that made it better than any fairy tale. The end.